Is it worthy of Allah to deceive people? To lie to people? Was Jesus Christ crucified, or did Allah make it look like someone else was crucified who looked like Jesus?
Someone looked like Jesus.
And did people believe that Jesus Christ was crucified because Allah made it look that way?
I think so.
Yeah, you think so? If I made it look that one thing was true, when actually something else was true, is that a lie?
Yeah.
Then there you go, Allah lied. Would Allah lie to people?
No.
What is a lie?
Lie when you share fake news.
Yeah, when you share
facts.
fake news, fake facts.
Yeah.
Did Allah convince people that Jesus Christ was crucified by making someone else look like Jesus?
Exactly. Yeah.
But when in truth Jesus wasn't crucified?
No.
Right, so Allah made people believe something that was true that was false, is that correct?
It's true, that was false.
Yeah, he made people believe Jesus was crucified when it wasn't. So he made some people believe something false, Jesus was crucified, when the truth was he wasn't. So did Allah make people believe something that was true that was not true?
It's not the truth because...
Exactly, it was not true. And did Allah make that happen? Yeah, so Allah lied. Yes. Think about it. Now tell me, according to hadith science, according to the science of hadith, if someone in the hadith chain is a known liar, can you trust them? No. Is the Quran, according to the Quran, described as a hadith? Yeah, do you know that the Quran describes itself as a hadith?
No.
Right, it does.
What the fuck?
It describes itself as a hadith, a report. Yeah, that's what the Quran says about the Quran.
Yeah.
Allah says in the Quran that what hadith will you have apart from this?
So where's the...
Okay, can I borrow someone's phone?
In Islamic theology, there is an important concept that is often overlooked, yet it has a significant impact on how one understands the nature of Allah. The Quran uses the term makr, an Arabic word that consistently means hidden deception, manipulative planning, or a strategy that involves misleading. This word is applied to Allah in several passages, including the well-known verse in Surah Ali Imran 354, where it is said that humans practiced deception, and Allah responded with his own deception. The Quran then concludes by calling Allah the best of the makirin. Linguistically, this cannot be sanitized. The word means exactly what it means. One who performs makr is someone engaged in covert manipulation. This idea is reinforced again in Surah Ar-Ra'd 1342, where human makr is directly compared to the makr of Allah, but Allah's version is stronger and more effective. In other words, the Quran portrays Allah as the one who overcomes human deception through his own form of deception. Classical commentators such as Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabari even interpret Allah's makr positively within the Islamic framework. Allah uses deception to overpower his enemies. Yet from a moral theological point of view, this still means that an act fundamentally rooted in manipulation is considered part of divine activity. From this point emerges a much larger theological problem. If Allah can use deception as a tool, then there is no guarantee that what appears to be true on the surface is actually true in reality. This becomes especially evident in the doctrine of substitution, tashbah, in Surah An-Nisa 4, verse 157. According to Islam, Jesus was not crucified. Instead, Allah made someone else resemble him so closely that people truly believed they were witnessing the crucifixion of Jesus. In other words, the entire world's misunderstanding of a central historical event occurred because Allah created a false visual impression. Within the Quran's own logic, this large-scale deception was not the fault of human beings, but the direct result of Allah's action. Major hadiths reinforce this picture. In Sahih Muslim 182, there is a narrative about the Day of Judgment in which Allah comes to humanity in a different form, one they do not recognize as their Lord. The people reject this figure, and only after Allah appears again in a form they recognize do they accept him. This is not presented as a metaphor. The hadith describes Allah revealing a false identity first, then correcting it with the true one. In Islamic literature, this act is called takyil, creating a perception that does not match reality. Although scholars explain that Allah does this to test humanity, the context remains the same. Allah is shown giving visual information that leads people to a mistaken conclusion.
Why did they believe he'd been crucified?
I say at that time.
Read.
It doesn't say at that time. Okay.
What do we read?
وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. According to Allah, they haven't killed him or crucified him. And they did not kill him, nor they did crucify him.
Yeah, right.
What does it say?
Keep reading. What does it say next?
Next bit, straight away.
ولكن شبه لهم. He made to appear so.
Exactly. So Allah made it to seem like that.
Yeah.
It says Jesus did not die on the cross, but Allah made it seem like he did die on the cross. That's what that verse says.
So
Yeah.
Allah lied 2,000 years ago. So if the Quran is true, Christians in the first century will believe that Christ was crucified because Allah convinced them that they were being crucified. And that's a lie.
Yeah, but there's a Quran. It says he made a peso.
Exactly.
Someone looks like him.
Thank you. Exactly. So that's the lie.
That's the lie.
The lie is he made something that was false look to be true. That's a lie. Now my point to you is, it wasn't until the time of Muhammad that the real truth came out. So let's pretend we're both Muslim.
Yeah.
That means that what we're saying is that in the first century, 2,000 years ago, Allah made it look like something happened that didn't happen. And then for 7 centuries, 700 years, people said, we crucified Jesus. And they said it because Allah made it look that way.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's a lie.
In classical Islamic theology, the term mocker appears repeatedly throughout the Quran and the major works of tafsir. Etymologically, this pre-Islamic Arabic word refers to cunning tactics, hidden strategies, or acts of deception used in intertribal conflict. Authoritative lexicons, such as Lisan al-Arab, Taj al-Arus, and Lane's lexicon, consistently define mocker as intentional deception. The Quran adopts this term and applies it to Allah, particularly in the context of the tension between Muhammad and his opponents. The most well-known example is Quran 3:54, which states that people practiced makr and Allah responded with his own makr, concluding that Allah is the best of the makirin. Linguistically, the term al-makirin clearly denotes an active agent, one who performs makr, not simply a wise planner. Classical exegetes such as Ibn Kathir, al-Tabari, and al-Qurtubi fully acknowledge the element of strategic deception in this verse. They interpret Allah's makr as a form of divine strategy that overturns human deception with a superior form of deception. The theological implications extend far beyond that verse. If Allah uses makr as an instrument, then Islamic theology accepts that Allah may create perceptions or situations that are not fully transparent to human beings. This becomes unmistakably clear in the doctrine of tashbah, the teaching that Jesus was not crucified, but that Allah made someone else resemble him so that it appeared as though Jesus was crucified. Quran 4:157. Early exegetes, such as Mujahid, Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Ishaq, and later the mature tafsir of Ibn Kathir, explicitly state that Allah produced a false visual impression, causing all eyewitnesses to believe an event that did not actually take place. In contrast, within the Jewish Christian tradition, the nature of God is built upon the foundation of absolute truthfulness. The Old Testament describes God as the God of truth, and the New Testament reinforces this by declaring that God cannot lie and that it is impossible for God to lie. When Jesus speaks about falsehood, he assigns it entirely to Satan, calling him the father of lies. Deception, or the creation of false impressions, is therefore completely incompatible with the divine nature in Christian theology. This comparison creates a striking theological contrast. If, in Christian thought, God is truth itself, then in Islamic theology, God may utilize deception to accomplish his purposes. This tension reaches its peak in the question of the crucifixion. If the entire world misunderstood the death of Jesus because Allah made someone else appear in his place, then the mistake doesn't come from humanity at all. It comes from a deliberate act of God. This raises the natural apologetic question: how can the ultimate source of truth be portrayed as creating a false perception surrounding one of the most important events in human religious history?